I've come up with a term. Artful gamers are now called aimers. So, with that said, good morning, aimers, and welcome to Let's Model with Michael. Today, we're getting back into it. Last time we were here, we are modeling out this room. This room's going to be a part of the game that we're developing right now. So I wanted to get a little bit more into that. And just to kind of preface, since the last time we were here, we didn't have this sort of floor plan with this arch. This floor plan is already in the game. So I thought it was necessary for us to be using reference to something that's already in the game. That way we know that this fits in perfectly. So I kind of already scaled it a little bit. And I think in the last video I mentioned that this is a double back area that swings around. So here's the entrance and here is the exit. So we're going to kind of just go through and fine tune some stuff to make this a little bit more ready for the game. Alright, so let's see. The first thing I need to do is separate this stuff because I exported it from a scene session. Where are you? Separate. There it is. Cool. And then we're just going to do all that. Center pivot, freeze transforms, all that good stuff. Dupe this over, flip it around. I like to hold J when I rotate things because it snaps to the right. I think I don't know what degrees it snaps to, but it's super helpful. Okay. So looking at this, it looks like we're going to need to bring this sort of wall feature all the way around, which is pretty similar to what we did in this corner. So I think honestly what I might do is just take this. Let's mirror this on a different axis. Oops, I didn't need to do that. Where are you, mirror? Mirror. Close, but I think it needs to be on a positive axis. Yep. Cool. So let's bring this to about where we want that to start. I think something like that's pretty good. Cool. Let's do that. And now let's start taking out what we don't need. Well, we know we're not going to need these faces because that's supposed to be where you can get in and out. So let's take out those. And I think rather than taking these faces out to keep this sort of bevel look, let's just take these edges. Verts, since it doesn't go through. Take these verts and these verts. We're just going to kind of spread them apart a little bit. Maybe bring them forward. I think we can flatten this out. I'm not too worried about that. I'm just trying to see if that even makes sense to do something like that. Turn back around this way. Let's go with it. Let's bring these in just a little more. And I think, too, these probably need to just center up. I think that's probably what's bothering me a little bit. And then maybe we'll put something in this center to hide a little bit of what's going on here. Honestly, one of these pillars might do that job perfectly. But for now, let's straighten this out, because I think that'll make sense if there's a bevel here, kind of doing this little notch. So what we're going to do is take this and add an edge loop. I didn't really need to do it that way, but I want it to be even. So we're just going to actually watch this little trick. This is a fun trick. So I want to move this edge. This might not be the best way to do it, but demoing this as like a tool, I think is really useful. You'll find situations where it's 100% the only way to move an edge or a face or a vertice without really distorting the rest of the geometry. But check this out. So I know I want to move this, right? So I hit W, and let's say I want to move this along one of these edges. If you hold down D and then click that edge, now it changes the transform so that you can just move it directly along that edge. I love that feature. Once again, that might not be the best way to do what I'm doing right now, but I promise you at some point you'll find that to be incredibly useful. Oops. Hold down D, click the edge you want it to transform along or relative to. I mean, that's not exactly it, but and then just to be sure, you're going to want to go into modify, reset transform tool, and then reset, and then also modify transform tools, move tool, because that's what we were doing, move. Go into here, and then I think it changed a lot of this, so just reset that tool, because this was what we oriented to when we held down D and then clicked the edge. So now that's a little bit of cleanup. Not necessarily the perfect way to do what I just did, but once again, I can't express to you enough how necessary that will be at some point. Right connection. I don't know why I tried to animate that. I didn't need to do that. And then edge. Oh, this would be something if someone can tell me in the comments. So I want to align this entire edge loop with this one. If I were to do a V snap, it would snap everything. So I would love to know how I could snap to this, right? Like if I were to do V snap, let's see what it does. Select this vertice and then snap here. Actually, you know what? Hey, answered my question. Nah, see, it didn't exactly work but it was close. But yeah, that would be a really cool thing to know how to do. I mean, I could if I was really wanting to. It's a little bit time consuming, but we might do it anyway just to show that method. Go in here, take these faces, make sure they're flat, and then just go through and do that same thing with all these. I can't imagine that's the best way to do it, because now I'm losing that bevel. I could do it with edges, but still, that to me seems like a lot of effort, and there's got to be a better way to do it. So if you're watching this and you know how to do that, like snap an edge loop to a relative other edge loop, I don't even know what the right way to say that is, but yeah, if you know how to do that, tell me please, because there's many occasions where I want to do that, and either A, I have to snap each vertice to the same place, or B, I have to do something like this where I'm going in and flattening everything. So yeah, if you know how to do that, tell me please. That would be incredibly helpful. And I'm going to take all these and move them forward so that they line up a little better with the edge of these. Oh, but then okay, that's just what it is. What I'll probably do is this. Take these and move them like this. Let's see, move these back a little bit so they're a little more nuzzled, and take just these ones. Fine, just these ones. We'll lose a little bit of that bevel, but cool. That still feels sci-fi. It feels a little more round. That's okay. I can work with that. And then so we'll kind of have to do the same thing with these. So over again, we'll go to mirror, if I can find it. Where is it? Come on, mirror, mirror, mirror. Then we know we had to change this to positive. Move this to relatively the same place. That's about right-ish. Okay. And this I think we can probably just guess a little bit. Actually, no, because we want it to be even on each pipe. So, edge. I'm holding Alt and right clicking, by the way. And then I'm going to ring utilities and add ring split. And now I can just hit G because I did it the first time, which is super useful. I love that tool. And then I think I'm going to need one more, right? This one goes here, and then I'm going to need one that's going to go there. So I'm going to do that again on the outside because I know I'm going to need an edge loop there. Cool. And now I can take these and move them into that corner and rotate a little bit. And take these, do the same thing. I'm hitting F to square up, by the way. When you see my camera zoom in really fast, that's because I'm hitting F. Like if right now if I hit F, it pulls in, it focuses it, and that I find actually really useful. I do that a lot. And just for some shortcuts, to transform or to move, it's W. To rotate, it's E. So you can just hit E, and to scale, it's R. So just little shortcuts. You might see me not going over here to select them, and I'll just use those shortcuts. So just to give you a heads up as to what those shortcuts are. Yep. Right here, E to rotate. Ooh, what is I got some of those. But yeah, so E to rotate, W to move, and R to scale. Cool. And then just to kind of finish things up, let's take this. Well, first we'll have to separate them. Mesh, separate, combine those again, center the pivot, delete transforms. Oops. Cool. That works for me. And then there'll be walls along here, so we're not even going to see the back side of that. Cool. So at this point, we're looking pretty good. I think in the last video I discussed putting something here, which I still think is necessary. But I don't want to worry about that right now. I think for the next little section of time, I kind of want to map out what I'm going to do with this ceiling. So the first thing I really need to do is turn off back face culling. I think I'm going to hide this for now because I really don't need that. That was just there to give us the general geometry. And now that we have a more defined geometry, we can move forward a little bit. But what I do want to do... Oh, we lost this when we mirrored. Yikes. Well, let's fix that real quick. This will be kind of tough, but we'll see what we can do. Straighten that up. Head over. Add another one that looks to be about the right size. Actually, now that I'm looking about this, we really don't need this edge. So take this, going to extrude it. We're gonna have to totally guess on what that, because I don't remember at all. But we'll just kind of guess what the offset is. That's looking pretty close. Maybe the whole thing needs to be a little bigger. How close is it? It's real close, so we're gonna just move it over. Okay, it's like nothing happened. And then, since this is even, I'm going to just take these, delete all that, and mirror it. Where are you, mirror? And I believe that's Z. Cool. Alright. I mean, that's probably what I should have done in the first place for these, but whatever. What's done is done. And now, technically, these are even. Cool. So let's work on this a little more. Well, we know we're going to need to take this floor and extend it a little bit. But now I kind of want to think about this ceiling. We have this pattern, so I think we should probably have a similar pattern. So what I'm going to do is take these, and I'm going to duplicate these faces. And so now we'll just move these up ever so slightly. And now we can start working with this as its own geometry. Oh man, that looks so bad. What happened? It must have tried to mirror right at this. So messed up. Oh, I didn't like that. Okay, let's see. Ooh, that's so messed up. But you know what? I'll fix that later, because that's going to take some time. But for now, I think what I'll end up doing is just taking this then. Same thing. Duplicate this. Come on. Okay. Freeze all that information and bring it up here. Let's see, is it still all wonky? It's not. Cool. So honestly, what I might do is just do this. First, let's do this, because I know I'm going to want that for later. But let's take this. Merge it with this. Now we'll take the edges, and hopefully this bridge will solve our issue. Cool. I think it did. Now I can just take this top edge loop, Control, delete, and now we're back to square one. Cool. Not the most convenient thing to have to fix, but hey, it is what it is. Cool. Sweet. Now this is the beginnings of our ceiling. And I think because we have something going on here, it might be fun to do like a little arch. So I think what I'll do is first of all, I'm going to delete half this so I don't have to do this multiple times. Then I'm going to go in here, edge, and we'll figure out these parts of the geometry later. But for now, I'm going to just start making a curve. Okay, and I knew this would happen, these little edges that were on the inside, but those are pretty quick fixes. Bring those down to match that. Same thing here. To match that. And then, of course, take this again. And bring those down once again. Okay, so cool. Oh, another thing I'm going to need to do is turn on backface culling. And to do this, you go into Display, Polygon, with the object you want to take out backface culling, and this. And then that way, now when I'm looking on the back side that doesn't have the normal or the direction of the normal facing towards the camera, I don't see it. And then when I go this way, I can see it. And actually, I'm going to do the same with this. That way, it's much easier to see. And the same thing with these pipes. Cool. So now it's easier to see the entire room. And it makes it a lot easier to model when you're doing interiors. So that arch is doing pretty well. And now I think that's general shape that I'm gonna like. So now we've got a little bit of a puzzle. I need this to attach to this edge, but we need to maintain this edge as well. So I know I'm gonna need one edge, two edge, and then I think that'll give me that across. We're probably going to get a triangle right there, but you know, this is static geometry, so I'm not too worried about it. Oops. So let's go into here, get the edge. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oops. So 1, 2, and 3. Cool. And we can take this too, because I don't necessarily like that shape exactly. So we're going to do something like that. Actually, hey, look, that won't cause a quad. I mean, that won't cause a triangle. We've got a quad right there. Beautiful. It might look a little weird because that's like asking a quad to bend in a strange way, but we'll see. We'll see if that looks horrible. So take this and we'll bridge that again, and then we'll take this and fill the hole. Yeah, that might look pretty strange. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's a quad, but that's gonna look a little weird. Let's see without wireframe if it just sticks out like a sore thumb. Well, it's not horrible. And I think what I can do is take this vert I'm not entirely sure, but we'll figure that out next time. Just to kind of complete at least this small session, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. One, two, and 3. Well, we've got quads. Maybe not the most attractive geometry, but that's okay. We're gonna flesh that out a little bit further. But for the sakes of completion, we're gonna take this and well, first let's center delete. Go to mesh and mirror this over on the Z. Cool. And now we've got our ceiling. And I think for now this is where we're going to be, and we'll pick this up at another session to really go in and nitpick and get something a little bit more precise. Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.